Hello and welcome to Dwarven Tavern review of the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide. I am your host, Dr. Jeff Goins, and I am not snobby at all. Where we left off was plot points, and plot points are very cool because they move the story along. Every story has plot points. The thing that you want to avoid in plot points, in the construction thereof, is you want to avoid plot conveniences and uber obvious things. You want to make your story drive along, but you want it to be unpredictable, to the point where you think something's going to happen, so you try it. Your players try it, and it might not happen. It might. If it does, that's great. If not, then this is a weird story. So you can have it do okay. In this particular book, they have several different options, 3 in total. And option 1 is what a twist. The player who spends a plot point gets to add some element to the setting. Each player in this variant rule gets a plot point, and they get to add an element to the setting that the group, including you, must accept. In a very recent game, we're playing a 3.5 right now, campaign that is coming to this great and climactic head, and in said setting, one of the players from ages past showed back up, or one of their characters from ages past showed back up, and did a very unexpected thing, and it was the same as adding a plot point to the game, and I don't know what they're going to do. And if you can imagine the horror that a dungeon master would feel by having someone have some ultimate power, and you don't know what they're going to do with it, and you don't know, and you know the potential that it could have to your story, what a twist. Option 1, what a twist. The option 2 is the plot thickens. Whenever a player whenever a player spends a plot point, the player to his or her right must add a complication to the scene. For example, if the player who spends a plot point decides that her character has found a secret door, the player to the right might state that opening the door triggers a magical trap that teleports the party to another part of the dungeon. Deal with it. Option 3, the gods must be crazy. With this approach, there is no permanent dungeon master. Everyone makes a character, and the one person starts as the DM and runs the game as normal. That person's character becomes an NPC who can tag along with the group and remain on the sidelines as the group wishes. At any time, a player can spend a plot point to become the DM. That player character becomes an NPC, and play continues. This is probably not a good idea to swap roles in the middle of combat, but it can happen if your group allows time for the new DM to settle into his or her role and pick up where the previous dungeon master left off. We actually did this once. Again, we were playing 3.5, and we did this where everybody took a turn at dungeon mastering, and it was pretty interesting. It was quite interesting and a great deal of fun. So that is that. Then you have combat options. Now these are like variant rules and options, like initiative variants. The initiative score. The creatures don't roll initiative. It's whoever has the highest initiative goes first, which is it's just a simplification, or maybe not. It's an exaggeration of the taking 10 rule. Instead of rolling initiative, everybody takes 10 on initiative, and whoever is the highest goes first all the time, except for new encounters. This counts on die rolls and math on the fly. You have side initiative, where either the attacking or the player side or the opponent side goes as to whether it's one die roll, one person leads, for example, and this might not be an uncalled for or an unreasonable thing, but when you have a character who has a high initiative modifier, like improved initiative and high dexterity, when they have that in place and something happens, they shout out the alert and everybody goes. And that seems reasonable to me. So, and then you got speed factor, which I really, really like. There used to be, in the first edition, all the weapons had a speed factor, and that determined their armor class for parrying. It worked really well. It's very difficult to parry a dagger unless you have if you've got a large slow weapon, like a greatsword, and you're fighting someone with a rapier, good luck parrying. You probably just want to cleave them in twain and screw the whole parrying thing, but if you don't want to kill them, that whole twain cleaving is there you go. So you've also got action options, which sounds like a TV show. In this case, you can climb onto a bigger creature, you can choose to disarm, you can mark a target. Yeah. And then you got overrun, shove aside, and tumble. And then it covers cleaving and lingerie injuries. My strap. Lingering injuries, where things that, you lose an eye. Playing with that BB gun. What movie is that from? Leave it in a comment. Answer that in a comment. The first one gets a prize. Guaranteed. You can have a horrible scar, a festering wound, minor scars, and so forth. And then it has a table that I think is very cool. It's creating quick monster stats. And it's here on page 274, right there. Okay. And if you want to create just an impromptu monster, like there's a terrible accident in a magic shop, and the chemicals and alchemical concoctions and potions were hit by a catapult blast or something, and something rose from those ashes, and it doesn't really fit any monster or whatever, or you just want to do something different, then you can say, well, I want it to be challenge rating 12. It has a proficiency bonus of 4 plus 4. Armor class is 17. It has anywhere from 236 to 250 hit points, so we'll say 250. 50. It gets plus 8 to attack, and it does anywhere from 87 to 92 points of damage a round, and it has a save DC of 18. All that information is right there, so you can just have this thing up out of the ashes and attack people, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's a golem." You're like, "No, it's a carrion crawler." No. What is it? It's attacking you. It's eating your face off. That's what it's doing. And then it has a list of experience points for challenge ratings. And then it goes on to talk about hit points and assigning hit points and so forth. All this special traits. And then it has this NPC stat blocks. And monster features and their effects on the challenge rating, such as if it's relentless, and for example, the werebore, which is relentless, a werebore, relentless, increase the monster effect on the challenge rating, increase the monster's effective hit points based on expected challenge rating, and then it has a list of hit points and how it affects the thing. So. Rampage, the Knoll, increases the effective per round damage by 2, and that's how it affects the challenge rating. So it really goes into depth. It kind of helps because it's kind of hard to figure out what challenge rating. If you're creating a new monster or a new race, it's difficult sometimes to say, well, this thing should be a challenge rating 5, but something just like it has a challenge rating of 7. Why is that? And this really kind of applies to all the versions, all the editions. So it is a guideline. So it's cool. I like the cross version through the ages. Then it has NPC features, spell damage, how to create a magic item, how to modify classes, how to create a background. Coolest thing ever. Then we get to the end of the book and the appendices, which Appendix A is a random dungeon. Very, very cool. Now, I know there's some websites that offer that, but you know, if you like to be a purist and a truist, stay to the book, which is very cool because this has random dungeons. You roll the die. What it is, you write it down on your map here. Write it down on your map, on your table. Keep track of it, map it as you go. And it makes for something that you don't know what's going to happen. It goes starting areas, passages, width, door types, what's beyond said door, the chamber types, locations, exits, stairs, and so forth. Connecting areas, stocking a dungeon. Then it has the dungeons, the death trap, the lair, the maze, the mine, the planar gate. These are all dungeon features. The dungeon, the stronghold, the locations, like a library with extensive collection of rare books. I get excited just thinking about that. A strong room or vault for protecting important treasures. I get excited thinking about that too. And so forth. So it's very, very, very detailed. Allows for some really cool stuff with just a little bit of rolling. You don't have to roll a huge amount of thing. You can make a totally random adventure at any point in time. Then it has monster lists, which is kind of like encounter tables, but not, because it doesn't have a roll thing where you can roll it. It's got coastal monsters, Arctic monsters, desert monsters, forest monsters, swamp monsters, underdark, underwater, underpaid, mountain monsters, and so forth. And then it categorizes them by challenge rating, and so forth. Then at the end, it has some maps, and these maps are just the coolest thing ever. I really wish there was a program that you could use that would generate these kind of maps here, like it starts on page 310. And it says very, very wisdomly, creating a map for an adventure is a fun, challenging, and time-consuming endeavor. However, unless you have something specific in mind, you're better off conserving your time and energy by repurposing an existing map. I agree completely. Published adventures and the internet are terrific sources of maps, for maps. A few sample maps are included here as well. Use them as you will, with a flourish. And it has just some freaking cool random maps that you can take a photograph of. You can scan it with your phone cam scanner, and print it out, put it in a desktop publishing program, and enlarge it to where it's battle map scale. Print it out, tape it together, put a sheet of plexiglass over it, and you got your map. It's very cool. So, this is the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide, covered in as much depth as I could stand. There is more to it than what I mentioned, somewhat. So, you just have to get it and read it for yourself. Definitely own it. High marks for this. I took a point away for some of the artwork was just so. It could have been better. And I took a point away because of the chase rules in the playability arena, which was not chase driven. So this book gets 4.8 axes overall. 4.8. What do, finger? Yeah, I get 4.8 axes total, which is pretty darn good. It is a must. It is a must for your collection. Certainly a must for mine. And there you have it, 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide. Don't forget to look them up at www.dungeonsanddragons.com. As I continue to read this, as if I've never seen it before. And don't forget to look us up at www.dwarventavern.net. This has been the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide from the Dwarven Tavern. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a like, leave some comments, win some prizes. And don't forget that we wish for you to want for nothing but adventure. And at first I feared it, then I charged. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Let the